Welcome to episode 9 of Straight to the Coke Hero, guys. I am joined by Jermeel, who is a performance coach specializing in women's health stuff based out of London. Jermeel helps women with things like their menstrual cycle, other issues that are exclusive to women that they might run into, such as in the gym or other aspects of their, I'd say mainly fitness, Jermeel, would you say, experience, or even outside of that too, overall well-being?
Yeah, overall well-being. So like I'll go into sleep, nutrition, the stress, psychology, and all that stuff as well.
Oh, very cool. Well, I appreciate you being here and coming on. I know we met through Connor's post group, I believe, was like how I first found you. I guess the first thing I wanted to know, because we were talking about it like before I hit record, right? It was like, why women's health? I thought that was really cool when I saw it in your bio too on Instagram. And I feel like, especially as a guy, like I wouldn't think that would be like something a lot of guys would want to kind of go into, especially hearing you're kind of going through like the full spectrum, which is really cool to me that you have that psychology component. You're talking about like sleep. It's not just simply like, here's how weight training is going to go for you.
Yeah, I get that question a lot. I get that so much. Why? Why did you choose that? Especially from the ladies as well. Like, why are you talking about this? But I'm like, whoa, okay. But basically, I couldn't even tell you why. I have slight reasons, but like I remember a good few years ago, yeah. I did like a postnatal. I did a postnatal course, and I just thought to myself one day, I just thought one day I'm gonna have kids. I'm hopefully gonna have kids, so I want to look after my partner. So I want to be able to help them through the process of being pregnant, and also looking after them after they have a baby as well. So that was kind of where it started, but it wasn't okay. I'm going to do women's health. That's kind of like I think the foundation. And then one time in the gym, my manager asked me to, "Do you want to do a presentation in the gym?" I was like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "Choose whatever you want to choose." I was like, I didn't know what I was choosing. And then whatever reason, don't ask me. I couldn't tell you to this day. I said I'm gonna do menstrual cycles to that, and I did it. I did menstrual cycle and menopause, but before it, I was doing my own research and I was talking to like staff members about the cycle and things like that. They had no clue. I was talking about follicular phase, luteal phase. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, you know more about my cycle than I do. And I think for me, because I think what it is as well, I've never been, what do you call it? Is it eked out? Like when people go look, and when girls usually talk to guys, they'll go, don't be sick or feel weird. I've just been on my period, and a lot of guys will. But I was always like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
it didn't actually bother me, and I think that's probably a reason why as well. So then I did that. I did a presentation. It went well. The ladies, the members at the gym, they loved it. The ladies that were in menopause and then ones with the cycle, they learned quite a lot. But then just talking to ladies, it was every time I talked to them, they're like, I didn't know this. I didn't know this. Well, I didn't know this. I didn't know this about my cycle. Like they didn't even know what the follicular phase was or the luteal phase. Most ladies know ovulation, but the other phases they just had no clue. Most ladies, okay, I got 28-day cycle. This is it, and blah blah blah, and that's it. And I don't know. I did studying, research, and everything, and I just started talking to ladies about it. I never told them this is what you should do for your cycle. I told them a general concept of how a cycle works and things that they can maybe look for at the start when they're menstruating, the week after menstruation, ovulation, that things they can look for and how it works, or ask them a question, does this happen at this time of your cycle and things like that. So it was never telling them what to do, but also just give them an overall view and concept of what a cycle is like. And for a lot of people, what it is, it's like, okay, it's a guy, that's very weird. Why does the guy talk about it? Then they get a bit of interest, and then it's kind of what I realize is how I talk about it, which I kind of don't realize how I do it. It's just what I do. But all people always say how you talk about it is in a certain way, which really helps them, and they feel more comfortable. So that's why I do it, because again, it's a undervalued market, and also most people that have PTs are women. There's more women that have PTs than guys, so it makes sense to kind of understand what a cycle is like, or menopause, so you can help a lady with their training. Also, if we do what's called like we do like a daily readiness check and things like that, a cycle will play a part in why a lady may not feel great today, or she may feel amazing. So it's just understanding these things. But yeah, that's kind of somehow I fell into it,
Yeah.
and you know.
I mean, I feel like for me, it's like the way you speak, which is just like you're just sharing information. You're not like telling them what to do. You're trying to be informative for them, right? And it's not coming off in a way where it's like, I think a lot of times, because it is the model of like some healthcare professionals, right? You go to a doctor and they're like, you pull the muscle, just don't squat anymore until your leg heals. And it's like, they're not like, they're just reacting to it. They're not trying to really educate you on like, here's why a muscle pulls, or like, would you do? I was squatting, I like dive bomb down. It's like, oh, okay. So the tendon just like elongated too fast that it, deformed. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, like that's not in there. But with what you're doing, it's like, hey, like there's more to this. Because I think, like you said too, I mean, based off my limited knowledge, it's like ovulation is pretty easy to know, like when you're in a certain phase, because it's like, oh, okay, there are these very clear markers. But even in like powerlifting, that was something like one of my mentors talked about, and he was definitely ahead of his time with a lot of stuff. But he would like ask female competitive lifters that he had, was like, your menstrual cycle, like roughly when is it, right? Because if you're going into a strength competition, it's going to change your like androgen and progesterone, from what I've looked up. Like, and that's going to affect like your ability to move the most weight, or like your 1 rep maxes. Because I've had clients that are like, hey, in a week, I'm going to be really strong because I'm going to be bloated. My belt's going to fit different. And they're like, but next week, I'm probably going to not do so well. And it's like,
Yeah.
I think that's important. And then the other thing you mentioned, just with like the psychology of that too, where someone like might just be like on themselves for having a bad off day and not realize like, hey, here's where they are in their cycle with women, you know what I mean? And it's like, hey, it's all cumulative, right? Like,
It's because it's tough, because yeah, like you said, for a lady, usually the week after they menstruate, getting to the second set of 7 days, that 7 to 14 days, the end of that is usually when they're at their strongest, where they'll lift their heavy, so that around the first day of ovulation. But then again, it's not, what do you call it, sign and date for everyone.
yeah.
That a lady may not feel great on that week, and another lady feels great on that week. So it's just but that's why we track, so we can see where we feel our best. And then also we talk about week by week, but then also a lady changes day by day, and so you can bring it down to the micro. Where it is, yes, you change week by week, but then you're also changing day by day. Your hormones are still slightly changing each day. So no, and things you do know, but the competition doesn't care, because there's any competition about okay, like, because every lady is different. So you may do a competition when you're on your menstruation, but this could be at the same time for a lady where she's in her peak, where she's at the best time of her menstrual cycle. So then it's just knowing the protocols. Okay, if I'm going to be handling my competition this day, it's knowing what I can do to make it have less adverse effects, so I can still kind of lift really, really well or perform at the best. Because the competition day, it will drop on a good day in the cycle, it may drop on a quote unquote bad day in the cycle, and you just have to know how to adjust to it so you can still kind of do your best.
For sure. And that's been my experience with just the few female lifters I have coached in powerlifting, is like, hey, I just need to know like how to adjust like your warm-up protocol, which might adjust like when you step on the platform, like what your first, second, and third attempt are based on like their feedback. But it's like good to have like a plan A, B, and C kind of, where it's like, hey, here's how you're feeling, right? Because like you said too, you don't know where you're going to end up. And despite there's some consistency to cycles, from what I understand, like it's not like a hard fast thing similar to like shoulder flexion or anything like that. It's not like at exactly 60 degrees, like everything becomes this other joint action. Just like, it's not like on like at the third Wednesday every month, you're like, yep, my cycle's here.
If only it was that if only it was that easy for a cycle to be there. Again, that's why like you may have a lady that will have quote unquote, if she has PCOS, or what changes as well, like PCOS will make it, again, depending for a lot of ladies what type. A lot of ladies don't know there's 4 different types, but depending on what type they have, that also has plays an impact. But then a lady that's on a birth control pill, that will change, and then it can be then you can go deeper into, okay, what type of birth control pill, what progesterones are they putting in there, because there's so many different types of birth control pills that have different hormones in them, so they also play a different part But yeah, it's there's so much things that can change. And then, like I said, a lady can be stressed, and then that could potentially make her, it depends how stressed she is, or stress can be life stress, nutrition stress, not eating enough for her training, which
Yep.
can maybe make her cycle shorter, or then it can make it longer. So like there's so much that comes, it's nuts. It's actually crazy.
So I don't know, like this question came into my mind because I've heard of this happening before, and I know one person it happened to, like they didn't have a cycle anymore, which I know can happen. I think especially with like really high endurance female athletes, if I'm not mistaken, at times.
Hmm.
Like, and maybe there's a nutritional component tied to that too. But I was wondering like if there's any correlation between like like a menstrual cycle. Is it similar to, like, I think with men, like to some degree, and there's multiple layers to it too, like morning wood or getting an erection, right, is like some level of health, like marker of health. Is like a menstrual cycle a marker of like female health to some degree?
What's the word? It's gonna bug me now because but it's a mark of health.
Like a biometric?
Yeah, it's a vital sign. It's a vital sign.
Okay, cool.
That's one where it is a vital sign. So if a lady doesn't have a menstrual cycle, she's not in good health.
Okay.
So a menstrual cycle is really important. That like you can go so much into depth in it, but a menstrual cycle, in simple terms, it is a vital. It's a vital sign of health for a lady. So if she doesn't have it, then you know the body is not in good health. But then the only way it would be different is if she's on a pill, then you understand why she doesn't have a cycle. But if she's not on the pill and she doesn't have a cycle, so yeah, she's not in good health. And it can be down to especially like with endurance ladies, they can be, and this can go with ladies that's not endurance. I just go to the gym. Their training can be at a certain level, but then their nutrition is not matching their training. So that's why they can lose a cycle. There's other stuff, but if you keep it simple with, if you want to train hard, train well, you have to match your nutrition. And even for a lady that wants to lose weight, where ladies think, okay, I'm going to train hard, but I'm going to drop my nutrition, your body's going to get stressed. So therefore, you can still lose your menstrual cycle. So you can still eat more food and drop weight towards your training, but you're matching your nutrition to your training load.
Okay, that makes sense, because where my head went to is like maybe if you're seeing someone who has, like, say they don't have a cycle, like I would assume maybe their HRV like would be really poor, like poorer than what you'd expect, because like you're saying, like what I think I hear you saying is like they're going to be under recovered in some aspect of their life that like physiologically they're not going to be able to experience that because their body's in more of this compensatory mode where it's like, hey, that's not a priority. Like you're in more of a threatened state, like a fight or flight state.
So and that can come from so many things.
Oh yeah.
That sleep, but stress could be work stress, because you can be so stressed that your body just stops having a cycle as well. And then it does depend on how long she has had a cycle for, because if you've had it for a while, it could take 3 months just to get something back. So yeah, the stress on, like I said, as you know, everything is stress. There's good stress and bad stress, but it just depends on the level that it goes to. Again, the same thing with every lady's stress tolerance is different. But yeah, so whatever stress it is, it can be nutrition, it could be training stress, you could be training too much. Nutrition could be well, but maybe just training too hard for the body. But yeah, outside of stress, there's so much things that can just make a lady stop having a cycle.
That makes sense. And the instances I always think about are just people like, I don't know the nutrition, the other side, but like I know their training volume and intensity is pretty damn high, even among like higher than general population for sure. It's like people who are kind of, I guess I'd say in our realm of like, they're maybe not people that work in the fitness industry, or they're not like coaches or performance coaches, but like they're training like they're athletes still, and they're not playing a sport, or they're just, highly active in a lot of ways and the intensity's pretty high. And it's like, okay, like if the other parts aren't there, like you say, it's like you can only do so much.
Yeah. And that's with the body. The body knows when, okay, you're doing all this, you're putting me under a severe amount of stress, which is, you want to adapt to it. Some people jump straight into it and they do too much. But, the body knows, okay, if I'm putting on this much stress, but then I'm not getting anything back, I'm going to shut these parts of my body down just so I can be in a decent state. And then for ladies specifically, that can just be a menstrual cycle. There's other stuff that can shut down for both of us, but we're talking about ladies, it would be like, okay, I'm going to stop my menstrual cycle because the brain, because it goes through the hypothalamus. Yeah, I get the name wrong all the time, but that's like the main signal of telling you the body to have a cycle. And if there's a lot of stress goes on, it can shut down that signal and it will stop the body having a cycle from whatever factor.
Is that like the HPA axis stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about because I was thinking hippocampus for a second too. And I'm like, it's not your hippocampus, it's your hypothalamus. But yeah. But I'm trying to think. So I guess like with that, right? Like, because I think that's super fascinating. I'm actually really happy for that reason alone. Like we get to have this conversation because I feel like there's so much in that realm from like the brief nutrition stuff I've been exposed to, which is definitely very overview, like even the HPA access and then like some of the gut stuff. Like it's just insane how complex all of it is. And like, you know, how sometimes one thing can be like a big rock, so to speak. Like this is general, so I'm not saying this for just women, but I remember like someone I know who has a PhD in functional medicine, Ben House. If you're familiar with Ben's stuff, but
maybe sure.
He's typically out of Costa Rica. I'll send you his stuff after this. Like, but Ben's awesome, and he has like a beginner's mindset course where he talks about like all the different nutritional aspects, like your basic, you know, what your macros are, how digestion works, different hormones. And then like magnesium was like a big rock for a lot of people if they're super deficient. He's like, if you give them magnesium, one of two things is going to happen. They're either going to think you're like God because they're going to feel better, or they're going to get diarrhea. He goes, like, because you give them too much. And then I was like, yeah, that's true.
That's definitely true. Yeah, magnesium. There's so just thinking about it now and thinking about all of that stuff. The nutrition is so complicated. It's simple, but it's very complicated at the same time. And it's putting it together, which is not easy. And that's where I think everyone has to just kind of figure out. You can say what works for them, but also understanding how nutrition works. But yeah, in fact, if you put that into a lady's sense, and if you're not talking about menopause, what if a lady gets to menopause? It goes out the window.
Yeah.
It's changed. But if you go through a cycle, like there's certain times in the month where, or depends how long your cycle is. Some ladies' cycle is 21 days, which is normal, and then some ladies is 35 or 40 days, which they class as normal now. So a lady's cycle can be 21 days, and it's always shorter in the follicular phase. The luteal phase is usually always around 2 weeks. The follicular phase is what changes. So it will either be a longer follicular phase. It depends if your cycle is longer than 30 days, or if it's 21 days, that will be shorter. So that's usually the one that changes. But yeah, it's just like, okay, what foods do I have when I'm menstruating, in like incorporating these types of foods, and then the week after incorporating some of these foods, and then ovulation you can incorporate your hormones arisen, so you got slightly change your nutrition to incorporate some of these, and so it's just like, but like you can make it sound complicated, but then it's just understand, okay, let me just incorporate a few more of these, and then it can work out. Because like it's like for a lot of ladies, like iron is a big one. They have a lot of iron loss in their first week for their menstruation, and some take supplements. Some should take supplements, but most should just eat more iron-rich food if it's heme or non-heme. And then unlike like smart little ways, is cooking with an iron skillet, because the iron skillet adds iron to foods.
Yeah.
So doing that and then adding vitamin C at the same time to absorb it a lot better. But then usually there's a word, and it begins with a H. I can't remember it completely. But in the second week, iron is absorbed a lot more faster and better than the first week. They absorb it in the first week, but they lose it. But they absorb it. The body takes it in like 2 times as fast or as better in the second week. Okay. So it's like okay, I manage it here and then increase it in the second week. It's a bit. Then it's just to understand how your body works, and that's what people, well, especially everyone, but if you're doing a menstrual cycle, they just to take time to learn what works on your body. It's like, okay, like I said, caffeine it inhibits the absorption of iron. So it's like, okay, if I like coffee or caffeine, let me have my iron foods first and my vitamin C to get in, and then after let me have my coffee. Because if you have it at the same time, then it's just
Okay.
it's
Yeah,
not gonna
yeah.
help.
It's like taking fat soluble vitamins with water, right? Like, and no fat. It's like, hey, you're not gonna get anything out of that. Because that's definitely like one thing someone else who does some of my supplementation like talked to me about. And like my mom has already gone through menopause, and she's like, you know, like she has osteoarthritis and like the bone density issues that I think a lot of women, correct me if I'm wrong, run into, especially as they get older. And I was like, you know, you got to take like vitamin D and K with like some kind of like nuts or some kind of fat, because if you don't have enough, like you can't even metabolize it.
Yeah, yeah, and I said it does sound like it's a lot. Like I've got to take this with this and this. It's just that. So say again.
I don't think it's that bad. I mean, I take like 7 things at once, and I'm just like, okay.
But you know what it is? I think it's for most people, they're not used to it. It's just that they're not used to it. So it's like taking small steps first. Okay, you can start with a reminder, but okay, or if it's okay, let me take my vitamin D. Once you're taking that regularly, let me now introduce the other one that I should be taking with it, just so it helps. Because sometimes a lot of people, even though it's a simple thing, you got to take it together. It's like, okay, wait, I've got all these other stuff going on, and I've got to take these two. So it's like if I do one at a time and then introduce it, then it can, because you're doing the first one, but vitamin D by itself, and they get stuck in the head. Okay, every day I'm taking my vitamin D, and now let me add the other thing in later on. Then hopefully it just sticks like that. But yeah, but especially with osteoporosis, it's a lot of strength training for ladies. They've got to do, and even plyometric stuff helps with ladies at menopause because it can help build the bones. But then talking about that, ladies that take the pill, I'm gonna bug it. I keep forgetting everything today. With ladies that take the pill, because they don't have the hormones, their bone density is a lot less than ladies that are not taking the pill and that have a normal menstrual cycle. I can't remember the stats. I got the stats somewhere. But if they keep taking the pill for a long time, because progesterone and estrogen together, they help with bone building and remodeling and things like that. Because you're not getting the normal hormones or the natural hormones, then taking a pill, you're not getting that. So you're losing out on that bone growth. And usually a lot of ladies that take the pill, they get at a young age in their teens. So if they're taking it for even 15 plus years, 15 plus years, once they get to menopause, their bone density will be a lot less than a lady that didn't take it. Because once they hit their 30s, they start losing bone mass anyway naturally as a female. So if you're taking a pill on top of that, it's just even worse. So like for a lady, if she is taking a pill, it's like, okay, let me definitely have to have like 5 years of a normal cycle. So if menopause starts at average age is like 52, it could be a bit earlier. Best way to know is to find out when your mum did it, mum went through it, or your grand. So you can know, and like, okay, let me stop taking a pill if I'm taking a pill like 5 years or so before. So just so you can get 5 years normal menstrual cycle and a bit of bone growth, because menopause starts about 7 years before you actually go through it as well.
Gotcha. Okay. That's really interesting. I know the strength training stuff because that was even the conversation I had with my mom when she was like younger. I was like, you're gonna want to do things that I didn't know the plyo stuff, but that makes sense too, because you're having to absorb force and the bones are probably going to reinforce as a result of that kind of different adaptation versus just having the load bear down on you in a more static-ish way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, I was just like, hey, you're gonna want to weight lift, like, and not just like walk, because my mom doesn't like training. And I think, you know, some people don't like guys or girls, but like I was like, it has the bone density benefits regardless. And you're gonna want that because like I think like the whole movement is medicine and the general well-being, like general overarching sense is pretty true, right? Like we've been as humans, like we were built to move, and like becoming more sedentary, like I don't think you need to have any degree in anything. You need like an internet degree. Like you just know, like if you don't move, you generally feel like shit.
Listen, I've sat down. I was doing work. Like this day, I didn't go to gym today. I sat on my computer. I've been at my desk basically the whole day. Basically, I'm talking a good 12 hours or so. Like I haven't. It's mad. But no, it's just movement is so important. Like I get the same thing, like people don't like strength training. So it's like if there's something that includes strength training, like gardening is a good
Oh
thing.
yeah.
I'm like that. Because I remember I watched YouTube quite a bit. There's a channel called Yes Theory, and they're amazing. They go on different adventures. They like seeking discomfort. That's the main thing. Seek discomfort. That's how you grow. But they went to Italy because it's a blue zone. The place, I think it's Sardinia. Yeah.
I think you're right. I know what you're talking about though, because
So they went to one.
there's like 6 of them.
Yeah, they went to one in Italy, and then they wanted to find out what the secret was and things like that. There's a lot to it why people live for a long time. But one of the ladies, she was 100. I can't remember, she's 100, maybe just a bit over. But even they were talking to her daughter. But yeah, her daughter was showing their videos. Even at 98, 96, she was gardening, doing her thing, just movement. It's nuts, like that, and she should have been doing that for such a long time. And like most people now, if they got to 96, I don't think that they wouldn't be able to do any gardening, even
No, yeah, man.
even probably in 80s or so, just because they don't move as much.
Well, I think what's funny with that is like someone I know, Dean Guido, who mainly does nutrition. He did a presentation on like talking about like you have your high energy, like high expenditure. Like I'm definitely butchering this, but it was like how you can have like a higher caloric intake because you have higher energy expenditure throughout the day versus simply slashing calories and still trying to be moderately active or like trying to fight that like battle, I guess, where you can put more into the system and you can get more out of it and you can still lose weight. Like,
Yeah.
But he talked a lot about their studies on like the Amish, if you're familiar with them.
Yeah.
And like the Amish is like biometrics, like for body fat, like muscle mass, bone density is like pretty crazy because like they don't have luxuries of like they're still doing things with like horses and carriage. And like even the women, like their overall like average body statistics versus like, people who live in more of our modern cities like are worse, but like their daily step count was like, I feel like they were all in like the 20,000s plus. And it was like, yeah, like of course they eat pretty much whole food diet only because they're not using all that other stuff. Like they move a ton, everything's physical labor. Like it's like, yeah, of course, like they have that longevity.
Yeah, and that all plays a part because even in the video, they were talking about, it's fresh produce. Like they have their meat, they have everything like locally grown, locally sourced. They do a lot of moving. A big one as well is community. So the community helps them.
Sure.
I think they have a siesta. I think it's siesta from Spain. They have it. The whole town goes to dinner. The whole town goes to dinner, and they all have dinner in some place, and then after they finish, they just dance. They drink quite a bit in the day as well. It's mad. They have alcohol in the day as well. So it's interesting, but it's not like it's crazy alcohol. But they do have alcohol quite a bit in the day. But yeah, they have their dinner together. The whole town has it, and then they dance until like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, everything is a combination. But then even that, they're still moving because they're still moving, talking, enjoying themselves, dancing. So yeah, it's quite a lot.
Oh yeah, no, I've definitely heard that kind of stuff too, because a lot of my family on my dad's side is from Italy, like the very southern part, and his like cousins have gone, and I guess like everyone in some of these towns knows each other. Like be like, oh yeah, that's like I know your great grandparents, and it's like that's ridiculous. Like you're saying, it's like so such a small circle, but not really at the same time that you have that. And I think that's one of the harder things, and that's like in my opinion, I'd be curious to hear yours with like social media for at least what we do, right? Is like social media lets us as coaches kind of have more community with a lot of people we'd never be able to connect with. But at the same time, like you obviously, like any other industry, right? Like whether it be like a sport too, like there are people on multiple aspects of the spectrum of what they think is like good fitness, air quotes, bad fitness. And then like, all the debates on like what exercises you shouldn't do, what exercises you should do.
I don't even know where to start with that. I think I've got to a point. For me personally, I just don't care. I just like it. Because we don't know that's the same in like every other field, but it's big in health and fitness. But also maybe it's big in health and fitness because we're in it, so we just see it a lot more. So that's why
for sure.
Massive. but it's still big. But yeah, even there, stuff to like, don't do this exercise, do that exercise. It's just like, it is subjective. There's stuff where, yes, you don't do this exercise under this condition, under a certain condition, which, okay, don't do that. But then the body is taught to move. It can move in certain ways. It can carry load, and certain places, like some people can do certain stuff. I don't know, like a Jefferson curl. People say don't curl, don't do that because how your spine is. But then people do it and they're fine. Then you may get someone that does it, but they're not. They hurt themselves. Maybe because also they haven't adapted to it. Then they're not conditioned to be doing that.
Yeah.
And there's this whole, because I see it a lot now where a lot of people do call out bullshit, which is good.
What is it?
Which is they're calling out bullshit. So
yeah.
someone will do something and then they'll remix it on a reel or TikTok, and which is good. I'm just like, you know, yeah, you lot do that, but it's, I don't know, they're just fighting a battle, which is good because you wanna talk about what is wrong and then put it out there like this you shouldn't be taking this advice and things like that. But yeah, the social media stuff, I don't know. It is nice because you do build good communities. You can build really good communities. You can connect with so much people from around the world. And then if you get big enough, maybe do an event and like you can see a whole community that you've built. And things like that. It is nice because you can build more of a community than just what's local to you.
Yeah.
And then you can build a worldwide one. And then it's just I don't know, it's interesting. But we always have to remember it's still social media, it's still the internet. So you just have to remember what's around you, because once you turn it off, the people they're not here. They're not in your local area. So you have to remember probably what is more important is the ones that are more local, because they're the ones that you're going to see. You can say more often because you can talk to someone, and it's nice how someone meets you online because it's still a connection. But it's what is I find more important is the face-to-face connection. Is yes, it's nice to talk to someone online and it helps, but there's still something different about having that face-to-face, that person in your face connection, and being around someone. That human connection is still massive face-to-face compared to online, because you can that you can talk to someone, like say we can talk now and then as soon as you meet in person, it's still completely different. So it's just understanding what it is online and to put the face-to-face above all of that, and just try and I don't know, put it in a good mix.
No, I definitely agree with that. I mean, you have like less walls up, kind of, not like unconsciously or anything like that, but right, like I'm not in the same room as you. Like there's the felt experience of that's different for sure. And like I think just the way in which I would say like presence is different being with a physical person versus when, like, you know, we could be on Zoom right now. I could be making eggs in the background that we could still be like on Zoom, where like versus someone who's like right there with you. It's like, I don't know. It's different. It's definitely different in my opinion.
It's not. It's there. You can. It's hard. You can't always put into words, but as well you can feel the energy when someone's there. That's the difference you can feel. And it's like there's a quote that I always love. It's from Nipsey Hussle, and what did he say? It's gonna bug me if I forget this as well. But it's like it's like no one is yours. You don't own anyone. You only get to experience people. And like and I always remember that's why I like hanging out with people more often. Like, I might not always go out, but it's like I don't mind hanging out with someone that I just met today or last week, because it's an experience that I'm having with someone. That experience, it's not going to last forever. I don't own them. One day people are going to pass. So it's okay, let me experience this person for who they are. And that also makes you richer. So it's just trying to get as much experience with as much people as possible. And so it's not like, oh, let me go and pass person house. Like you can go out to eat, you can go out doing an activity, you can go for a walk, and it could be many different people, but it's just you're getting an experience with someone that it's not going to last forever, but it's still enriching you as a human being.
Yeah, and to me, when I hear that, what I just think about it is like based on the way you expressed it, right? Like you're making the intent. Your intention is to be there, present to that person, that experience. Where like I just remember one of the like most cringeworthy things I ever saw was like my younger sister was in the backyard with like 6 friends, And like, dude, I didn't hear them say a word, but like this was in like dusk. And you could just see all their phones. And my dad, I think, was like, "Are you guys even talking?" And they're like 16. And he's like, "Yeah, we're talking to each other." And I'm like, they're just definitely texting. And it's like when you call someone upstairs from you and be like, "Hey, where are you?" Be like, "Yo, I'm upstairs, you lazy bastard."
Oh, that I've definitely been there.
I mean, I've been there too, but I just
Yeah,
thought I just was like,
yeah.
I tried to do it more in the way of what you
No,
just expressed, right?
it,
Like,
it's. Do you know what? And do you know what I think that's from? Where I've got a lot better at that. But
yeah,
when I was younger, well, we were younger, we wouldn't have had it like that. So we would have been more communicating, and then it's changed slightly as we got a bit older. But what I think it is as well is, what's the word? Oh my gosh. So social communication, maybe it's social anxiety, because sometimes when you're nervous, you just go on your phone no matter where you are. And
yeah,
also people nowadays, they're scared to be in silence. And I've realized this because I remember one time, was it one time? I think I was with someone. It was a girl I was seeing, but like she couldn't be in silence. I'm very comfortable with being with someone, just having their presence and having silence. And like some people need to have noise. Like you
yeah.
don't always have noise or have to be doing something. And I think a lot of people are not. I don't say not scared is the right word, but they don't know how to deal with silence.
Well,
And there's nothing wrong with silence. Silence is a very important thing.
well, I think like it's interesting. So for me, right, like I'm someone who, depending on the person, like I actually don't like silence makes me very anxious, depending on the person. And all like, but I've had the experiences like that are the opposite, where I'm like, oh, silence is safe. Like it's okay that there's like that space of silence, because I think it's like the uncertainty that bothers people. Like obviously, like there's nothing there, right? But like I've definitely had it, and it's been after the experience, because in the moment I'm just present to it and I don't even realize. But I'm like, oh, I'm like, yeah, actually, I wasn't worried at all that we were just sitting next to each other for 3 hours and like, watching a movie, enjoying each other's presence. But I wasn't waiting for like shit, metaphorically speaking, to hit the fan, right? Like something bad to happen. And I think there's a lot of things like upbringing, I think, is one thing with that. Like people's own, obviously, individual like circumstances in their upbringing. Because I definitely know people like there's people who have like there's like a lot of verbal filler, so to speak, but you can tell it's not there for substance. It's just to fill that space, like we were just talking about, where it's like they don't want there to be a pause, so they'll have to say something. So there's not that like silence, and it's like, hey, I'm just gonna like awkwardly laugh or insert a word in here, and it's like you really don't want it to be quiet, do you? Like,
Yeah,
which is okay.
yeah, it's that's it. It's not a bad thing. I don't I get it because I've seen it. I've been there myself with all this the science. Sometimes you do think it's like, okay, it's everything correct, it's everything okay. And there's times when like just silent, and then like, why are you not talking? I'm like, still nothing wrong. We're still on the talk. And it's interesting because I don't know, that reminded me of different cultures. That as you just saying, it was just like it just reminded me of different cultures. Like it's like how people keep quiet, or they tone, or they have to talk. Like here, like so, like the Japanese culture, love the Japanese culture.
Oh, yeah,
But
same.
but when someone's talking, they will always say, "Oh my gosh," but they'll say like yes, and every time you're talking, they'll say yes. Yeah, and they want you to know that they're listening, but yeah, so there's no silence. But like usually over here, you may be talking and someone can be silent. Be like, "Hey, listen." They're like, "Hey, listen." You're not replying, but you can listen. So, and then like in Japan, like they'll say, "Huh?" They'll say, but they'll know they're not being rude. They're listening to you there, but they'll say it quite a lot. But then like there's ways that you can be silent here, and then people moaning you, "Are you listening?" But then you can just say everything they do in Japan, where you repeat like, "Yeah, yeah," and that, "Are you listening?" You just like it's so interesting, and I find it's so different in different cultures how silence could be one way compared to another one.
No, for sure. I mean, I know with like I had taken some Japanese like 6 months where it's, and I know even if you're like thinking of something instead of like there's like verbal filler like no, like
Yeah,
etto, like you're just trying to figure like, and they'll just keep going because they're like it's normal, right? It's conversationally normal. But I think like to your point too, I think that also is just like having someone actively listen and like see you, not in the just the physical, like not in like the physical sense of seeing you, but like active listening, I guess, if we want to call it that, right? Like you can feel and tell that versus if you're just like looking down at your phone and someone's like telling, and I think that obviously also varies in intensity. If someone's like, telling you like something that great happened in their life, like that's a lot different than just being like, "What'd you eat for lunch?" Like, still
Yeah,
a conversation, right? But like, there's varying degrees of maybe presence necessary to feel received in the right way.
yeah, it is important. I think that's something. There's something that I don't have a partner, so but there's something that I think would work with a partner where it's just like I think I will do it one day when I get a partner. Is there's like I want to get what's it what's the clock called? Like the sand clock, the
Oh,
hour,
like yeah, like the
hour,
hourglass timer.
yeah.
Yeah,
The one that I think the one that I want is I think it's I can't remember if it's 5 or 15 minutes, but like I know it may seem something kind of simple and unnecessary, but it's like if you turn this over, you're gonna have 15 minutes of just unintentional conversation, and like it puts you on the spot where you can't touch phone, and it's like it gets people engaged where you have to sit down and listen because it's easy because you can talk to me. I feel like I'm on my phone. Like, yeah,
yeah,
I listen, put it down, and then okay, I'll put it down, and then I feel like I'm listening. But then they may just feel like you're not actually listening, are you? Because now you kind of feel forced to listen. But it's like for some reason, I feel like that timer is like if it's an understanding between you two. Okay, we've got time. People sit down and just want to have a conversation. It's really good, but I don't know, man.
I mean,
It's,
no, it's obviously like also the world we live in at the moment. Like a lot of things are faster paced. Like what I've said to people, at least in like some stuff I've done, which is like men's work, if you're familiar with that, where you're talking about like healthy masculinity, like men being able to like have the full spectrum of full emotions that like maybe wouldn't be traditionally masculine. Like you see something sad, you can cry. Like in a lot of the like exercises, it's like, hey, you're gonna make eye contact with another man, like unbroken for a while, and have a conversation. And it's like you don't really have it. You can't really run away from that because it's like if you look to the side, it's like, hey, this guy's not looking at me anymore. Like it does change the way you communicate for sure. Like it grounds you way harder because you're kind of like forced to be there and
yeah,
you're being seen like by someone else.
yeah, that eye contact one. That I still need to work on that. There's times where I can give you eye contact, but sometimes you look at someone's eye, it's like ugh, it feels awkward. So
Oh yeah, I mean,
look away for a second to come back.
I think there's some movement, right? Like you're not trying to have a staring contest for sure, but I definitely know what you mean with like, well, I'll make it a habit. Like if I'm really engaged with someone or I'm really like focused on that, like I'll put my phone to the side or put it somewhere else. Or like if I'm out with people, like if I wanted to be out and on my phone the whole night, like I would have just stayed home because like I didn't need to come out with you guys. So like I'll just make it a point where it's like I don't really need to check my phone. And if I do, it's more of like a twinge or a habit rather than like I'm doing it unconsciously because I'm so used to doing it. And I'm just like, wait, why am I on this?
Yeah, see, and that's why I don't drink. Uh, so I try not to go to what bars. So like if I do go out, like I don't like I'll go out to eat, but it's like bottom of my list. It's like I'm not trying to just go out to eat or go to a bar, but like those two, because like I don't know, in America, like in the UK, it's usually like okay, let's go out for drinks or let's go out to eat. They're like the main thing, but
Yeah.
like they're the two easiest things to look at your phone. Like you go out to eat, my phone's just here. I'm eating, my phone's here. Like 2 seconds. But like, so me, I like to do personal activities. So if you're gonna do an activity, your phone probably wouldn't come out of your pocket, so you can kind of experience whatever you're doing, but also with the person. The only time the phone may come out if you're like maybe if you're going to the museum because you want to take some pictures and whatever. But usually other activities like your phone shouldn't be coming up that much. That's why I try not to go go to eat that much or maybe cinema. But yeah, so those ones I used I try and put them like low down the list and just do all different types of activities because you can't really bring your phone up.
Yeah, that reminds me of like when I go hiking. Like anytime I go hiking, it's like you're too physically engaged that like you're either gonna trip on a rock or like maybe you take it out to take a picture, but like you don't have cell service sometimes. But like
Yeah.
something I do every so often is like I'll just go out to eat by myself and like actually enjoy, like try and make it more of a priority than to enjoy my food, because I think for me it's pretty common. Like if I'm, well, I definitely want to talk about some anime stuff in a minute, but like for me, like I typically eat dinner while I watch some anime, like, or I'll be watching like a lecture on biomechanics while I do that. If it's something I'm like super into, like in terms of a show, like then I actually won't do that. Like I want nothing between me and the experience of that show, like at all. Like, and typically I know when that's coming too, because I'm just like, this is gonna emotionally wreck me. So let me put everything away so I can get wrecked.
Oh, that's mad. I can't. And anime is probably the only thing I can't watch while eating, because I know I have to focus just because of watching it in Japanese. I know, even though I may know some of the words,
Oh
I'm not.
yeah. No, I know what you mean.
I have to sit down and focus. I have to sit down and focus on watching it. I can't sit down. If I'm sitting down eating, then I'm missing what's going on. But then they're talking another language because I've got to read subtitles. Like, that's too much. Let me just eat my food, watch something else, and then I'll watch anime.
For sure. No, I'm with you, because there's moments where even like watching it with the subtitles, I'll have to rewind because I'm like, wait, what did they say? Like, this is important. If you want something funny, because I'm gonna have Connor on here at one point, because he got into Attack on Titan, not because of me. He started it, and then I was like, dude, I was like, you gotta keep going. I was like, the beginning's not like the beginning's nowhere near as good as the end. And he's like, I can't eat while I watch it because people are getting eaten. I was like, yeah, I guess that's in there.
Oh, that's sick. That's actually funny. I didn't even think about that.
It never bothered me, because I guess like, but you know, everyone has their own things. Like I had a friend that like they had these like vegetable fries that he had a really bad experience like helping out in a daycare. Like he would see those things, he'd be like, get them the fuck away from me. I was just like, dude. Like he's like, no, I probably like I don't want to relive this shit.
That's funny. That's mad.
So is there anything like I know we were talking about a bunch of different like animes like through DMs. Like, is there anything you're watching right now or anything like
I'm slacking right now. I feel like, but I haven't watched anime probably in like a good three weeks. But I was there every week watching Spy Family. I was watching Ayoshi. I was watching Tadamachi Game. Ayoshi wicked.
It's so good.
But I've been slacking. I haven't watched them. You know what? I was watching when they first came out every week. I was there every Tuesday, every Saturday, watching it. I was watching what's her name? Oh, the girl. She's not cutie. Begins with an S. Forgot her name. But I was watching that. I was watching so many on the go. And last three weeks, I haven't seen any. So I need to watch all those ones to finish it. I've got like 3 episodes left on Spy Family. I need to watch Ayoshi. I need to watch Tadamachi Game. There's a few I need to finish. There's just too. There's too many. I can't be up.
I tell people that all the time, right? Like there's too many studios, so it's like you pick what you actually want to watch. Like if it's not good, you start it, and then you're just like, nope, I'll go to this. But like there's too much stuff. Like, but I feel like a lot of the stuff that's actually good is the stuff you see. I mean, every so often I stumble upon stuff where I'm like, I've never heard of this, but it's really good. But like, there's also some weirder stuff where I'm like, no, you don't want to watch that. Like,
there's I forgot the name. There are some weird. There are some ones that are a bit like, okay, it's a bit mad. You're going a bit extreme. There's one that I haven't watched it. It just came out. I don't know if I want to watch it, but like the title is my ex is my
yep. I know exactly.
That title is just a bit. Go on.
No, I don't know why that's like that stepsister like that's like a big thing for some reason with a lot of things that I don't know like why, but there's other shows that have done that too, where it's like you meet, like they accidentally bump into each other on the street, like is the first episode, and then like the dad's like, I started dating someone new, and like you meet your new sister, and like, oh, this is the person from the train.
I don't know. It's mad. There's some of the animes that they come up with. It's not like I get what anime is, but yeah, some of the names, some of the animes. There's one I can't remember what it's called. It's is it Haram? It's mad. It's basically just naked girls, but you can't see naked girls because they got black scribbles all over their parts.
Is this on Crunchyroll?
Oh, yeah, but like you can't see them actually.
What's the name start with?
I'll find it for you now. I've control on my what
On
do you call it?
YouTube?
Yeah, I don't know.
I feel like I probably know it. Like,
What is it? World of Haram? World of something?
what is
It's
what?
something. World of Haram or something like
It's probably, is it World End Harem?
Yeah, that's
I know what it is, and like, I mean, it's just weird they made a name because, like, if anyone watches anime, right, like a harem is like one male, typically like protagonist, and like a bunch of girls into him. But like the basis for that show, because I remember watching the trailer, which doesn't have that, and like I've seen 2 episodes of it, and I was just like, this isn't good enough to be a show. Like,
yeah.
it's like fan service.
Yeah, it's a base. Yeah, I can't watch it. It's a bit I just like it. It's mad. And then yeah, the black scribbles they make it worse.
I didn't never saw that though. That's even worse.
You can block stuff out because like it's nudity and things like that, but it makes it 10 times worse. I don't know. So I haven't ever watched it, but yeah, I have a bucket. My list is way too long.
Oh, dude, no, go ahead. I say we're in the same boat with that.
I'm never gonna catch up. I don't know how. There's only one way I'm gonna catch up. I can't like. I need to find a girl that likes anime. If I have a girl that likes anime, like she's down for the anime, then I'm like, okay, cool. I have to watch it because I'll watch it by myself, but then I'll just leave it sometimes, and then more will come up. Then it's summer season now, so there may be a few more coming up, and then like in October, I don't think I'm gonna watch Bleach, but then something like Chainsaw Man's coming out, and then there's so many. I was like, this is more and more, and then there'll be more new ones that I'll be like, because I have like I make a list. I have an app that I have a list that puts all them, but then I have a YouTube channel that I watch that'll give you all the hottest ones that are coming out, and I just add them to the list, and it just keeps on getting longer.
Dude, you'll never do it. I'm still trying to catch up on some of the older stuff. Like I started Evangelion. Like if you've seen Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm almost done. I got like 6 episodes left, and like it's gotten a lot better. Like the first 13, I'm just like this. Have you seen it by chance?
No, I know what it is, but
okay, like the first 13 episodes, I was like, it's kind of sad. Like, and then the last like 7 after that, because I have, like I said, 6 more to go. I'm like, okay, this shit's getting a lot more like existential. Like I was not expecting this, but like it's good. I understand why it's considered like one of the classics among like that Yu Yu Hakusho. I feel like every person I've ever talked to like knows what that is.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But I was gonna say, you've seen, which I was thinking about a second ago, like one of my definitely a really high anime for me was like Akame ga Kill.
I've got like 3 episodes left for that.
Oh, you're not done yet?
I do the same. I told you I do it all the time. I'll watch anime and then I'll just stop. But I'll watch it. I watched it. Who died? Who's the last person that died?
I mean, dude, you've seen so many people die at this point. Like, I know exactly roughly where you are.
The girl, Chelsea? Was her name Chelsea?
Chelsea dies. Chelsea's dead.
She died.
Mine dies.
I don't know who their names are, but I remember that she's the last person that I can remember dying. And the other guy from the opposite team, the one that started seeing his family that had that gas mask thing.
Oh, yeah.
And from right now, I'm probably a bit further. That's the last person the last ones I can remember died.
I actually was thinking about that dude earlier before we were gonna get on here, because I remember we talked about Akame ga Kill, and I think that was the crazy thing. Demon Slayer, if you've seen it, does the same thing, where like the bad guys in Akame ga Kill like have a good backstory. Like that dude with the flamethrower he has a wife and kids. Yeah, like, and he's not a bad father. I mean, he's done some bad shit, obviously. But like it's the same thing as like Demon Slayer. What they do really well, I think, it make the demons really human, because they were human at one point. Is like you typically figure like before they die, in some cases they're showing you their past memories of being human, like before they became demons, and it's typically some kind of like incredible hardship or loss that pushed them over the edge.
Yeah, as you say, I'm thinking about the brother and sister in the like the last season of Demon Slayer, the two demons, and
Oh yeah.
how they started to like they were a bit nuts, but then when they were starting to kind of lose and die, you can see the transition of how of the emotions and everything like that. So yeah, no, the correlation it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite demons in that show, and they haven't done his backstory yet. I'm not going to get into it. But I kind of wanted a tattoo. Is like, have you seen the movie, the Demon Slayer movie?
Yeah,
So like, Akaza has one of the best backstories. Like, and I was gonna get a tattoo of like he has like all the rings on his arm. I was gonna get like 3 of them because it comes from. They'll get into it at some point, but it comes from like his childhood and like how he most of them I think just grew up like shit. Like they all had really
yeah,
terrible upbringings. But like I heard it, I was like, I'm not gonna root for him because he's killing everyone, but like I understand why he became the way he did.
yeah. See, it's that's what I like about anime. I know you do it in shows that are not anime in real life, but they just the stories are
Yeah.
like and they have real emotion and there's real things behind it. And then it is tough because then like you can even put it to real life where you'll see maybe someone's been a killer. I'm not saying it's the definitely not the right thing, but you can see maybe why they've gone down this road because of what's gone on in the past, and maybe there wasn't any help that they should have got. People didn't want to help them, and then that's like a lot of psychology stuff where helping someone at a certain point before a switch turns, and
Yeah.
then once that switch turns, it's kind of like no going back, and it's and it's not right what the person may do if they're going to kill 5 people, but then it's understanding that why it's got like that and where it's come from, and that's why it's like even like down to like judging someone for what they've done. Are you your piece of shit or blah blah blah? But then it's like I get why someone called them a piece of shit, but then it's like, what about if that happened to you? Do you know? Can you flip it and be in their shoes? And it's like seeing it from that side of view, not saying that you're not saying that you're what's it remorseful for the person because
Yeah.
you deserve what comes to you, but it's also understanding not to kind of judge them, which is hard not to do, but not to judge them because what may have happened to them in the past and why they're at this stage in their life. So like it's tough, but that's why I like anime and the stories that they bring and how they do it is
Well, no, I think you're spot on, man. And like, I know, like, I definitely have a lot of empathy towards people in that way. And my brother has a tremendous amount. And like, that's something he talks about too all the time is like, what are the conditions that led up to any of the way any of us live our lives, right? Because like, we all want to live our best life, but like, we got our habits from our parents, from our society, from like what we were modeled, right? So like, how could you be any different than you were? Where it's like, you show like I think animals are really like good examples because they're so pure. Like in my mind, like if you treated a dog like shit its entire life and then it bites someone, like you're not going to be surprised that it did that, right? Like it thinks everyone's going to hurt it. Like same thing with like children who grow up to adults that have like a lot of like trauma stuff, right? Like same thing. But I think like it's interesting because in my experience, at least with dating and even outside of dating somewhat, like I'll bring up that like I like anime and a lot of girls will be like a little bit like because I think they just imagine there's an octopus. Like I think for some reason octopus tentacles, like hentai somehow became interlocked with anime.
yeah.
Like and like I'll say exactly what you just said. Like I've never for me and like the emotional depth I experienced watching it, like I haven't found a medium. I haven't found too many movies and stuff that portray like the same consistency of depth that anime can, because I think they give to what you were saying before with like we were talking about like the other side of the story essentially. Like there's more context to like what we're looking at, where like a lot of shows don't have that, where it's just like this guy's been killing people on the streets in like this psychological thriller, and it's just like finding the killer or whatever, but like it's never talking about like, oh, his motive is he likes killing people. Well, there's probably more to that. Normal people don't just start killing people. Like,
Yeah, and I think it's most shows. Well, it's like anime. Not every season, not every show gets multiple seasons. But
yeah,
it's a lot of them. They do good character development and go into their backstory. Where like maybe the shows that are not anime, maybe they because most shows don't get a season like the best one you can. I never watched it, but like Game of Thrones, people talk about it all the time. I know they said they didn't like the ending, but
Yeah, I've seen
because they
all.
because they have multiple seasons, the character development and maybe the backstory of certain characters, which they got what do you call it? You kind of you get captured
Perspective, I
by
guess.
you get captured by that person. You're like you kind of endeared into them because of their story and things like that. It happens a lot in anime. I know they try some shows can try to rush it because they may only get one season. They may get one season, but if it's not, but even sometimes in one season, like
Yeah, you can do it.
erased. One season of erased. Like I listen, you get into it and you get into the characters. So like you can't like anime does it really well because sometimes they're only 12 episodes and you still can get attached. That's the word.
Oh yeah, man.
And like I did with Erased, I was like, oh man, at one point I was like, man, this is crazy.
I had that with it's probably not super common. I wish it got a season 2. It was called Death Parade.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Like Death Parade's really good because I think it's just a lot of it's on like human nature. There's morality in there, but it's like people in purgatory essentially like playing arcade or bar games without their memories and like they're experiencing pain and it's like how are you going to show up essentially and then like they're regaining their memories as they're playing this game but like one person's going to purgatory one person's going to hell, the other one's going to get reincarnated but like they don't know that they have no conscious like they have no idea why they're playing, they just know they don't have a choice, like you have to play. But it's really good because you have some characters that are just like they kind of choose the option of they're like I'm not going to do this because it goes against like my morality and ethics as a person, like so whatever the punishment is I rather go out on my own terms than the other way. But I was going to say, have you seen all of Naruto?
Yeah, no, I watched everyone. There maybe a few little fillers that I didn't watch.
That's fine, dude. I skipped a lot of filler. But I was gonna say like Itachi's character development is like
he's my favorite character. I even have a keyring of him. I have a keyring. I have it broke now, but I have like I've got a little keyring of him.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. I have his crow on my arm.
Oh man.
So I don't know if you can.
Yeah, no, I can't. Yeah, that's it.
Like, but no, dude. I mean, that was a character. Like, I loved him as a villain. Like when he first showed up at the end of like Naruto in the beginning of Shippuden, and then like when we learned like his whole story, I would definitely want to hear your thoughts. I was like, I can't hate this man. Like this, I get it. I get what he did was wrong, but I'm like, he literally put like the village on his back, so to speak.
Yeah, it's hard because those things happen in real life, but it's like if you speak, probably no one gonna believe you. No one's probably gonna believe him that he's doing this for this reason. That's bullshit. Whatever, you're not doing blah blah. So it's like it's hard, but that does happen with a lot of stuff. Sometimes you just have to do stuff in silence, even though it looks bad and probably is bad, and you're not speaking. Why you're not speaking? It's like it's a catch-22, and you just have to believe in what you're doing, knowing what you're doing is right, even if it costs, even if the effects are kind of catastrophic. And it was because he killed his whole flipping village.
Yeah.
And so like his brother Sasuke is like he sees that, doesn't get told why, and especially at a young age. If Sasuke was older and maybe in his teens or something, it could be different. But especially being a little kid, seeing that changed him quite a bit, and then not getting the full story until at whatever point. And
yeah,
it's
he's like 15 by the time he finds out.
Yeah, and it's just like Itachi's like he knew what he was doing, he just couldn't say, and it's just like things will be revealed later on, but he's had to. It's hard because you know what you're doing, and you already know you're going to get judged, and you just have to be mentally strong. So no, I'm going to get judged, but I know what I'm doing is for a better cause later on down the line. It's just what I got to do now is bad, but it's for hopefully a better future. It worked. Yeah. If it didn't work out, it worked out.
I mean, I would say I mean, obviously what he did is fucked, right? But it made sense when we got the rest of the story without spoiling the exact details, especially when you found that if he didn't wipe them out, what they were gonna do. And you got hints of that with his dad too, and his eyes, and you were just like, So they're gonna do the exact same thing. Like we're gonna end up with this. People are gonna die no matter what. It was like what, like you said, it's the catch-22 of like that. But I feel like Orochimaru is like the opposite of Itachi, where like he did everything selfishly for himself. He didn't give a shit what happened. Like he was just trying to preserve himself. Itachi was just like, I'm gonna die, but like I'm gonna make sure my brother survives and like is the strongest he can be. Obviously not through the best means, but like I don't know, you wouldn't have even had the show if it didn't happen. Like
Yeah, I was like, it's mad. It's hard. It's hard to know what the heck was going on. But yeah, I don't know. Tachi probably just, is he smart? It's probably say he's the smartest one out.
oh yeah, like
him and probably Kakashi, probably the two smartest. And Rich Murray, he's the idiot because even what's his name? I forgot his name. The snake.
Jiraiya. Oh, Orochi. That's Orochimaru.
No, not him.
Oh, Kabuto.
Yeah, one his partner in crime who like they all there's idiots anyway. They're both of them.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they're both like head cases in their own way. But I definitely would say I think that's what I loved about Itachi was like he never really overkilled anything too. Like he only did as much as he had to in combat. He never went too far for the most part. He was just like, hey, like I need to do this, and he was so calculated. Like I said, I loved him as a villain, and then especially like later on, I was just like, I loved you as a villain, but like I understand like everything you did because that, and then like yeah, he did such a good job, even with the other stuff and like the crow in Naruto. And I was like, dude, who think this man's playing like chess with people playing checkers?
Literally, he was way too far ahead. Like his step. Yeah, I don't know. Like that guy's brain. He's smarter than Shikamaru. Shikamaru really smart, but
yeah. I was gonna say that's the other one. I mean, is there any other shows that like you've really been touched by that you kind of enjoyed? It could be any show. I just know like those like what we've talked about so far for me definitely hits home pretty well.
Yeah, I have no clue. I don't watch shows that much. I've seen like 3 episodes of Power. I've probably seen maybe season 1 of Stranger Things. I've never watched any other show on Netflix that I can think of. I've seen not you. I lied. What's it called? Don't remember. I don't watch shows.
Oh yeah.
The last one that I can remember would have been something like Fresh Prince.
Hey, that's a classic, man. Like,
and that's it. Like those shows, around those shows, Fresh Prince, My Wife and Kids, all the time. Once kind of that era stopped, I didn't watch much shows. Like I would probably watch sport, and I would watch. I like crime stuff, so I watch a ton of crime stuff and anime. And now I don't even. Yeah, I just don't watch shows like that. You can name me all the top Netflix shows. I wouldn't have seen any of them. So yeah, I'm trying to think. Anything that got to me.
It could be another anime too. It doesn't have to be like a live action.
Do you know what? It wasn't emotional yet. It was just sort of weird. Hey, there's one called School Days. I don't know if you heard of it.
I think I know what it is.
It's about a boy. He meets he's a shy guy, and he meets this good-looking girl at the school, and I think she has. It's not issues. That's a bad word to say, issues, but stuff going on in her head. And she can get judged quite easily. But like, he was like a quiet guy, but then he got confident. He got mad confident because he was with a good-looking girl, and girls started liking him. I'm probably just spitting so much rubbish about it, but then like he got confident. He started seeing this other girl, this and that, and started cheating. I think he started cheating on her because he got confident. Like, at the start, this guy was not like this, and then he started trying to be. He was a player. And it wasn't a good look for him. I don't know. And then after, last episode, I don't know. It just went nuts. I just started seeing. What was it the girl, the first girl, the one that met on the train, the good-looking one, and then the one that he was cheating with. At one time, I think at the house, it was madness. The other girl came to the house, and then did she stab her?
Oh shit. Okay,
No,
so it's like
no,
that kind
no,
of stuff.
no, no. He came to the house. He came to us here because he tried to make up. It was all manners. He came bare blood and everything. It was mad. Like then she went to meet the other girl because the girl was meant to meet him. It's all madness. Meant to meet him at the top of the school. I think she was pregnant. Well, like this, people may be
Oh,
confused.
dude.
People may be confused now about what I'm even talking about. But basically, it's like the first girl that he met, and she met him at the house, and then some madness happened there. Then she went to meet the other girl that he was cheating with, and they were on top of the roof. She came, put a bag down. The girl looked in it. The boy's head is in the bag, so she sliced his head, put it in the bag, and then she said something, and she sliced the girl's belly open to see there's a baby in
Oh
there.
my god.
It's,
Dude.
why it sticks out? Because it was the most unexpected thing I've ever seen in
Oh
my
no.
life. Because they were all in school. They was in school. The boy was a quote unquote nerd, and then he somehow he got this girl. They were talking, and then he got excited, like kind of little player because every girl wanted him and this and that. And then, but then at the end, it just went crazy.
No, there's definitely like I immediately think of like I did finish it and it was like the ending made me so angry. It's called Devilman Crybaby. It's on Netflix.
Okay.
Like and the animation style I kind of like because it reminds me of like retro-ish animation. Like
Yeah.
it's not like as detailed as like Spy X Family or like a lot of the stuff that's coming out now, even though it's like it's a Netflix anime. But I just remember watching it at some points and I was like, the fuck is happening? Like, what happened to that guy? It'd be like, well, that guy's actually this thing. And then like this dude's best friend is actually that. And I was like, well, this is just terrible. Like the ending hit me and I was just like, I want my 13 hours back.
Yeah. Anime. It's tough, Joe. I do find it hard
I
not finishing the anime. I tried to finish them all, but there's times where I do stop. Like I've
no,
watched
you gotta just sometimes quit.
I, I don't have I quit a few, probably on a few. Like I'm like on Tokyo Ghoul. I
Oh
got to.
yeah. After it
I
changed.
haven't watched Re Zero. Tokyo Re
Oh,
Zero.
ReZero is the shit, dude. I love ReZero.
I haven't watched it, but it's because it started to die down. I was watching the first season, second season. It's like okay, I don't know. There was some stuff that just didn't grab me. It's like yeah, this is good. There's certain bits of like there's usually in anime. There's certain moments and there's certain songs, but they do all these little stuff. And I'm like yeah, this is sick. Then I don't know. So like I haven't watched ReZero, and that was like months ago. So if I do watch it, it'll take time. But like it's just I do find it hard. I try to watch all the animes. Well, if I'm watching an anime, I try to kind of finish it. But I knew people do say, like, listen, you just got to stop, and that's it. I was like, but there's some I have stopped on some. Like I was watching Love Over Domination or something.
Oh, love After World Domination. Yeah.
Yeah, I've watched like 2 episodes, and like, I'm like, I get it. It's funny, but I'm like,
I
that one kind of has stopped.
I haven't done that one. The one I have seen is definitely like I have 2 episodes left. I have like 3 friends, and this was like 6 months ago. Is Domestic Girlfriend. So like the opening of it is really good, but it is exactly like the dude. Basically, it's like the same title as my stepmom's daughter is my ex, but like it's worse. Like this dude's life, I'm just like this man's just getting the shit knocked out of him, like in like poor events. Like you're just like wait, whoa. Now his teacher, like who he's into, is his sister's older sister, and then you're just like what? Like they don't actually have a relationship like that, but like you're just watching it, and I'm just like I just want to know how bad. Like I don't know how they could end this in 2 episodes. Like
yeah. When those things happen to me, like, wait, we've got 2 episodes left. How the heck? I remember with is it Gelpner?
Oh yeah, I've seen Gluttner. Yeah.
Yeah, that one, I was like, I can't remember how they were ending it. They said there may be a season 2, which
There's supposed to be. There's more manga. Like because I watched it and I was like, I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
And I kept watching it, and like the story is actually really interesting. If you get to the end of the first season, like then it made more sense because I was like, how exactly did this all happen? And then like by the end of first season, you're like, oh, okay.
yeah, that one ended weird for me. I don't know. It's yeah, but I watched it because I had just want to finish it. And I do have anime, and I think that's a bad thing. Sometimes I just finish it and I'm not really paying attention. I'm just watching it to watch it.
Well, I watched it because like I forget the name of the girl, but like she's nuts. Like the main other,
Oh yeah,
she's not a protagonist by any means. Like, but like the other girl that's like not her sister, that is her sister. Like
yeah,
that the whole way they did it, because I was trying to figure out like, you know, you see the cover and it's like the dog looking suit. And I was like, this is, and then like they're explaining the suit, and I was just like, okay, this is weird. And then like he's got a gun. Like this is getting crazier. And I just remember like as I got deeper into it, like then it explained like who the main, I guess, you know, like who the main crime syndicate group kind of was. And I was like, that makes more sense. Because like
yeah.
the first couple episodes, I'm just like, I have no idea what's going on. Like
Yeah, it made no sense. How he saved her from the building. I don't know, man. That anime, I was so into watching it. I watched it and I was like, hey, I don't know. It's weird. There's so many. There's one that's actually. I'm still confused. Is Summertime Render. I don't know if you've seen that.
summertime, what is it?
Summertime Render.
Not-
It's on Disney Plus, but I don't watch it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why it's on Disney Plus. I watch it somewhere else.
I think I know what this is. Yep.
But the psychological for it's that I'm still confused. I promise you. I think I've watched like 2-3 episodes. My head's all over the place. Like they're going back in time, they're going forth. It's nuts. And like that I stopped watching it. Like I'm gonna watch it, but like I need a break. Like after like 2 episodes,
I don't know if you ever heard of this one. I grew up, so I'm 27, but it was on Toonami, which was like Cartoon Network in the States on like Saturday nights. It was called Bo, and this dude like fights with his mustache. But dude, like there's moments where they're fighting like a villain, like because it's definitely a comedy anime, and the villain's like, oh shit, I got a date in like 30 minutes, but I don't have anyone to go with. And like the 2 guys he's fighting are like, we'll go with you. And then it just cuts to like a skit of like the 3 of them on a date. Or like the dude unscrews his head and the other guy's in it, and he's just like, eat this, and like throws shit at him. And I'm just like, where are you getting this? Like
I couldn't watch that. That sounds mad. That sounds like it's too much.
One show I would highly recommend that's like kind of goated as like as a comedy anime is called Gintama, but it has some of the best like sword fighting scenes in it.
Oh, that's on my list. Hasn't it got seasons?
It's got 360 something episodes. It's long.
Yeah.
I haven't finished it. I'm on like mid 120s, but it's good. Like if you don't want anything heavy-ish most of the time, like it's funny. Like there's a whole episode that's a commercial. Like you're watching the whole thing, and the last 10 seconds they zoom out, and it's a commercial for hair cream.
Nah.
Because the one character's bald, and he's just like, it's a commercial for him selling you hair cream.
That's mad.
And it was so good, dude. I was like, I don't know where they're going with this, but this is so good. And then he's just like, are you losing your hair? And I'm like, wait, what? This entire episode was a commercial.
Oh, that's mad. That's actually nuts. That's actually sick.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah. That's mad. I couldn't even watch that.
But they make fun of every mainstream like Shonen Jump anime. Like there's a scene where like all the characters are in like a classroom, and he's like, teacher, you stole my eye. And like someone's Kakashi, like their eye's just bleeding, and the other guy's in the back, and he's like, why are you wearing an eye patch? And he's like, I don't know. Like
yeah, no, I've heard of that. I don't know yet if I'm mentally ready for like a long those 300 episodes. I can't. I don't know if I can. I'm never gonna. I've told myself I'm never gonna watch One Piece. I'm just not doing it. I don't. Like all of those, I'm not doing it. So those, I don't do another 300.
I had a girl on. I had a woman on last week, and she was on here, and she's like, "I'm gonna show my kids One Piece," and that's when I'll start it, like on the podcast. Because I'm relatively caught up. Like I've seen most of it. Like, but I could just tell you at this point, I watch the highlights on Crunchyroll's like YouTube, and then I watch like the people who do the manga recaps break it down, because like I mean, the beginning of the show literally tells you where he's going to end up at the end of the show. Like,
Oh,
he's going to become king of the pirates.
yeah.
Like that's not a spoiler if you watch the first 5 minutes. But how he does it, right? And but Oda, I will say, is probably one of the best writers. Like, he's got people coming back in like episode 1000 from episode 200 and like finishing their backstory. It's just like, dude, who does this?
Man, it's actually nuts. It's actually mad. I can't believe you have over 1,000 episodes. I don't know. If someone said they want to watch One Piece, I'd say good luck, because I refuse to ever watch that. There's too many episodes to watch.
So I'm going to scare the shit out of you because I don't know how he did it. This dude told me it took him during COVID when he wasn't working, I guess. I met him at the gym, not Connor and I work at, but the gym we go to work out at for a change of scenery. This guy watched all of One Piece and caught up in 2.5 months.
Oh yeah, so he was
like
a day.
Yeah, I mean, like if you do the math on that, right? Like there's 1,056 episodes now, I think. Like he caught up. This was in the past 2 years, and they're not the fastest at making shit. Like
that's mad. He had to watch that in dubbed in English and watch like 20 episodes a day because there's no way. That's a short. It's a very short time. It's still a long time.
I mean, to me that's short, man. Like I couldn't. I don't even think I'd want to do it. I think I would actually get so burned out. Like in theory, at least.
I know. Because I don't think he would. For me to say, okay, I know you've watched it, but you have to explain everything that's gone on. Because that's a brain fry. In 2.5 months, watch every episode, and then you have to tell me what's going on to know that you've actually taken it in. Because I could never. But that's the thing. For me to watch One Piece now, if I was to watch it, it would take me years. I just know it would take me years.
I will say during peak COVID, highly recommend. I'm gonna get a tattoo of this dude at one point with a couple other characters on my other forearm, I think. Tower of God only got 12 episodes on Crunchyroll, but I was so into it. After it ended, I read all the manga. I'm still reading it week to week. They're on like chapter 500 and something, and like I literally feel like I'm watching it, like I'm experiencing a movie when I read it. Like I'm like, oh my god, no! Like don't let this happen. Like I'm ready to throw my iPad out the window.
Oh, that's
it's
mad.
So good, dude. It's so good.
I watched I think one episode. I started one episode of that, and then I just stopped. Like, well, I told you I do it all the time. I watch anime, then I'll just stop and I'll go weeks.
I mean, I get it. Like I started and I was watching a little bit of it last night, Arcane, which is like the League of Legends anime.
Yeah.
Like I like it, but it's not super gripping for me. It's just like okay. Like it's got a pretty novel animation style, but it's definitely not one of those things where I'm just like, oh my god, like I gotta finish this versus like I stopped watching Evangelion the other day because I was not in the place. I'm like, this is gonna fuck me up psychologically, like because they're getting into like. Well, they're getting into the stuff where, like, if you're into any of like the like spirituality stuff, like he's witnessing himself, like, and this won't make sense, so it's not a huge spoiler, but like he's witnessing himself, and he's like, if that's me, then who am I witnessing myself? And it's like, fuck, you're getting into like what in meditation, what I only know is like there's no separate self, and like if you don't have an ego, and I'm just like, oh no, like.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't matter if you don't know what it is. You're just like, this is weird. But I'm like, oh, this is where you're just like, well, what's real? And then it's like, oh no.
Oh yeah, you can't. Yeah, I know what you mean. You get, yeah. I think I'm all right with things like that. Sometimes when I watch stuff, so like I can kind of take things out of it, and I'm just gonna watch it and not get caught up in thinking about it too much.
Yeah.
So I know what you mean, because you can get caught up in, and that's like with a lot of shows, but you can get caught up in the moment of what they're talking about. But then they probably do it in a certain way. And with anime, they do it. They'll say something in a certain way, add a bit of music and this and that, and then
it's a whole mood, man. Because I remember, like, I was watching. I'd done mushrooms, and I was not in a good place after like this one trip. And I was then like gonna watch ReZero, and like there's certain stuff in that where I'm like, I can't watch this right now. Like there's a lot of death like that happens if you've seen enough of it. And then like the part where he was like he's losing his mind, and I was like, no, this is not the thing to watch right now.
They. What they called? I forgot what they're called again. In the flipping Tokyo Ghoul. Oh no, they're ghouls.
Oh yeah, cool. Yeah. But no, I mean, even Kaneki, I thought like that they did such a good job with the first 2 seasons because the third and fourth season I've like just watched highlights of, but like it breaks the manga. It's not true to it. But like if you finish season 1, like the Jason fight is like one of the most memorable fights too, probably. Where his hair changes color for the first time. It's when he gets the white hair.
Yeah.
And then he like breaks his own finger and he's just like, it's on.
Yeah, that's why I think it's happening that part. That's why I think what only got me with Tokyo Ghoul was when something happened, when something like big was happening, just when they add the music and
the piano man.
Mom, it's amazing. It's actually amazing. I've even played some of the songs when I'm at the gym.
Oh, dude, I'll send you like it's up to 200 songs now. I have a playlist that's just like openings and closings, and like I literally listen to some of that stuff. Like my rep PR on Safety Squad Bar was listening to. It was like the 4th Sword Art Online opening in Costa Rica. So I was like, I was asking. This was Ben House. I was like, he's like, you guys play whatever music. So my other friend just went, Dean Guido, and we were there to train. And I was like, you care what I put on? I was like, don't judge me. He's like, I'm gonna judge you anyway. I'm like, fuck it, I got nothing to lose. So I put on like this song that was like the one Sword Art Online opening, and I think I squatted. It was like 285 for 17 or 20, like on a Safety Squad bar. And he was just like, by the way, this was for a study. You were only supposed to hit your 10 rep max. I hit like 18, and I'm like, I'm the point on the graph, and it's just like, who the hell's this idiot?
Yeah, that's mad. Yeah, The anime tunes. Yeah, after I play, there's a couple Tokyo Ghoul ones that I play. I don't know. Like that. The reason I've got them because when I was watching the anime, just certain times they when they brought it out and certain moments like and the tunes are sick.
It's definitely. I'm pretty sure it's like Unraveled, which is the first. Like it's the opening that then they play with like a different harmonic or something.
I don't. It's on here. I don't know where it is. One is wow. I don't think I have it. No, I do. I can't remember. It's not. No, it's not Unraveled. You know, it's there. Okay, one is a Glassy Sky.
Okay.
Glassy Sky, and then
that's the opening. I think.
I can't remember the other one. I have that one. I just don't know what it is. It's a beat. There's not actually no song.
Okay.
It's a beat.
I mean, I can, as you said, I can literally picture like I can hear the opening in my head right now.
The last guy when the girl's singing that tune's sick. Don't know why it's so sick. And then the other one I have. Oh, the other one is can't pronounce it. It's Lichi and it's a man name. It's just a man name. I don't even know.
But I definitely feel you with that. But I gotta actually head back to the gym in a couple of minutes to open. But it's been a pleasure, man. If people want to find you, like, what's the best way for them to connect with you if they want to find you?
At the moment, it's just my Instagram. I would say my YouTube, but that's not up and running yet. So my Instagram, literally just my name, Jermeel JB. So like JERMEEL JB, and that's just my Instagram. That would be the best place. And then it will have my other links for my YouTube on there anyway.
Cool. Well, I really appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a blast, and it was really cool to hear. Like, you definitely do something really diverse in fitness that I'm not familiar with. Like, I've met a lot of people that like, pelvic floor stuff, like do just nutrition. It's really cool to talk to someone who's like really in the depths of like women's health stuff that you do, and then just also like connect over the anime and everything else.
Yeah, no, it's sick, man. But yeah, the women's health stuff. Sometimes I'm like, why did I choose it? Because there's so much to it. Like you said, the pelvic floor, like women's health stuff. Just looking at it as an anatomy source.
Oh yeah,
is nuts in itself. But then you add the health stuff because, like, if I'm looking at ladies, especially like ladies as they grow older, and go through puberty, changing their acute angle, what that means for potentially in sports is that a reason why they get more ACL injuries because the acute angles change, but they haven't done strength training or movement training while they're going through puberty, so therefore their coordination's off, and that's reasons for like that's why even just looking at ladies, I don't know why I chose it.
Yeah, it shows you. It shows you.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's a lot of work because again you're going into health and all that stuff, but it is interesting to find, and then it's just helping ladies because you realize how much ladies don't actually know because they haven't been taught it in school or wherever. So it's good to help them. Then they can help more people. Because if I help one lady, she can also help someone else.
For sure. No, I think that's awesome. Like I said, that you're coming at it from the standpoint of like informing people rather than just, telling them what to do. And I feel like that is such an underserved aspect, even like with women coaching women, like you said, right? Like they're obviously having the experiences that we can't have as men, which is, having a menstrual cycle, but like maybe they don't know the physiology and the nutritional aspects. They just know that, we're both having our cycle at different times in the month. This is what it feels like for me. That's what it feels like for her, like another woman to another woman. But like they don't understand like navigating that, and even the interplay between so many other things you touched on.
Yeah, and then the last bit is just and just me doing it for guys as well, to quote unquote, so guys can be more comfortable in talking to ladies about it. So I've talked about it, and then it's made some of my friends that are PTs more confident to ask their clients about it. So just by me talking about it, it kind of breaks the mold where guys can feel a bit more confident to talk about it or hear a conversation about it. Because a guy, if he's not gay, is going to have a partner or have a daughter or something like that. So then they can be confident talking to their partners or daughters about it. So that's another reason why I find it's all right for me to talk about it, because it makes guys a bit more confident as well.
For sure. Yeah. Someone's got to work on bringing down the walls, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, man.